It's time for a Drummer Nation. Hi, this is Michael Vosbein, your host for Drummer Nation. This is show number 5, Translucent Ham Sandwich. In it, I have an interesting discussion with Evan Stone, a drummer from Southern California with a very cool band. That's up next on Drummer Nation. My guest for this segment of Drummer Nation is Evan Stone. Evan makes his home in Southern California in the Los Angeles area, and he's got some interesting things going on I want to talk to him about. Welcome, Evan, and thank you.
Hey, how you doing, Michael?
I'm very well. I know you're active all over the Southern California scene. Before that, I know you are a veteran of the Maynard Ferguson Band, player extraordinaire, but I really want to focus on your band because it's so darn interesting. What's the name of your band?
I have a group called the Translucent Ham Sandwich Band.
That's what I thought. That's a great name. Tell me about the band and what makes it so different.
Well, it's an improvisational group. I think the thing that makes it different from most groups is that it's not a rehearsed band. We show up to the gig and we improvise for an hour and a half, or whatever the venue lets us play for. And as a result of that, we do some other visual multimedia things on top of that to kind of incorporate an overall sense of, either euphoria or nausea. We're not sure which one it is yet.
Let's touch on the multimedia, multisensory aspects of this band. What am I likely to see on stage besides musicians?
Well, I have, sometimes I incorporate more circus type acts like jugglers and magicians and belly dancers and hula hoop and poi, and I've had contortionists. It's kind of random depending on who's available and who wants to show up. I have painters doing live painting, poets that come in, other guest artists. So I'm trying to eventually get what I would like to do is get some really wacky things like fire and aerial dancers and other acts. Maybe a boxing match I can have, that kind of thing going. If the venue's big enough, the sky's the limit.
Cirque du Translucent Sandwich.
That's the thing. I don't want it to be a circus. People may describe that as such, but that's really not what we're going for.
Well, that's what I want to talk about. I didn't mean that as an insult at all.
No.
In many ways, this as new as it is, it's sort of a throwback to some of the old avant-garde ensembles of yesteryear a little bit with regard to, I did some notes, I looked up avant-garde, performance art, live in nature, collaborative, multidisciplinary, stuff that will challenge or provoke perceptions of art. Often has social or political stance to it. I know you have video as well, and
Sure.
The players may or may not be in costume or masks.
This is true. I usually prefer them to be because they're so ugly. I like to have them hiding their faces. No, I'm just kidding. But this is a piece of, I don't know what you can see there in the video, but this was a piece of art done that was live by Matthew Lawrence Knott. This is basically what the band sounds like.
Excellent. I totally dig that. Well, I've been down with the avant-garde for a long time. I've personally saw live Sun Ra, the Art Ensemble of Chicago, and I was listening to Eric Dolphy and Ornette Coleman, and I'm very much at home with what you're doing. Is your notion to challenge the audience? Or to entertain them, or how would you describe it?
Maybe it's a bit of both. I mean, challenge essentially, I guess, in the way of hoping that they'll accept music that they're not familiar with, or they have no reference to in terms of, I want to go see this group because I love that song that they do. Every gig that we do is different because it's improvised. So therein lies the challenge for the listener to be able to show up and enjoy the now moment of what's being created. Entertaining, absolutely. I think that music should be an all-encompassing experience besides just showing up to listen to musicians maybe play some amazing virtuosic stuff. Not that we do, but I've been to all sorts of concerts and shows, and I think I enjoy personally when I walk away from a show where I'm listening to great music and I'm also fed visually, things. I mean, I've seen it all from, just going to see jazz quartets and guys standing on stage and playing. And that's how this group started. It was just a bunch of guys getting together and playing improvised music. But the fact was that nobody was really that interested. At the end of the night, nobody was captivated. And then all I did was add some visual elements to the group, and then people started coming out and were more interested in the band. So I kind of took that concept on steroids and said, okay, well, if that's what you're interested in, then let me, let me invade your senses and oversaturate them by having lots of different things going on at once. So it was this band was kind of derived from frustration as well as the intent to entertain an audience that has never listened to, improvised music.
Well, in a way, it's consistent with the everything old is new again. And in some ways, this dates back to Cabaret Voltaire 100 years ago. But nowadays, in contemporary performances, it's rare to see just people playing without light shows or multimedia things or all kinds of other stimulation going on at the same time.
Yeah, I think that it's happening. People are using I'm seeing more bands using videos and stuff behind them. It's not a new concept. I'm not doing anything groundbreaking. It's just that I think that the amount of the stuff that I have going on for a smaller type show, we're not playing in front of 20,000 people. Right. But I think the idea that most groups really just don't have the time or the wherewithal or the patience to kind of want to put together a project kind of like this. So really, it's unique in that sense that it's just I just ask people to show up and they do, and then a whole bunch of them do. So I got lucky in that sense.
Well, to see that kind of show in an intimate setting makes it even hipper, I think.
Oh yeah, that's true. You're right there.
Well, let's talk about the drumming behind this, because I know you often will have your back to the audience and facing the band as though you are the conductor, which in fact you are.
Correct.
And you said it's spontaneous and improvised. What are you're sort of directing? It seems to me like you're bringing in elements of this and that, and let's have some of this, let's have some of that, then I'll start a little groove here, I being you, and you kind of direct it from the drummer's chair, which is very interesting. Is that your approach?
Well, yeah, it is. It's kind of necessary. I did try at first, when we first put this group together, just letting people do whatever they wanted and keeping it kind of organic, and chaos ensued after a while. So you need some form of direction, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. And so I figured if it was going to be a large band, a lot of things going on, it would be way easier for me to direct some things and kind of steer the band in different directions if I was facing them and they could huddle themselves around me.
Absolutely. Now, what styles are you drawing from?
What? I'm sorry?
What musical styles are you drawing from?
Every single style that I've listened to growing up, and every style that each of these musicians has listened to. So we run anywhere from playing, blues and jazz to rock and progressive stuff, mm-hmm. and we'll touch on punk elements and whatever. I mean, I have a lot of different members in the band. I got a horn section, I got keys, I got a couple guitar players, bass, I got percussion, I got a DJ.
Plus all those other elements, all improvised in the moment, is very hip. Is there a political bias to this? Do you have a message that way?
There are Yeah, they're the lyrics that I write tend to discuss subjects that may be considered political and religious or whatnot, but uh, I think that it's just I guess it's just part of the now moment of this band is to discuss if I have poets that are coming in or guest singers or whatever is to discuss the things that are happening that day or that week or whatever. So a lot of times before a gig I'll write lyrics about what's happening that in current politics or just in regular current affairs and sing about them. So we try to keep everything always current.
So there are lyrics, and you sing as well.
I have been lately. I do sing on the album, and we. I've had several different singers, but the main singer that we had for many years, she is no longer singing with us. She's now with a child, so she had to take some time off, and so I've been on the search for a new lead singer. So in the duration, I've been singing myself, and which is not easy to play drums and sing at the same time.
I'm hip.
So,
Tell me about the album.
the album is called Music from the Future. In fact, I have it right here, Music from the Future, and it's interesting because this is such a live band. I thought, well, I want to capture the band, on recording. And how do I go about doing that? My first reaction was, well, let's do a live album. But then I thought, I'd rather go in and kind of go in the studio and get the guys to jam out for a long time, and then kind of capture that, and then be able to put lyrics and singing on stuff. I wanted to do a little bit more of a production instead of just a live album, because every show is different. So I wanted the album to kind of be different, and I think we achieved that on this album.
Where can people find out about this?
About the album or about the band?
About the whole thing, yeah.
Well, my website, which is it's translucenthamsandwichband.com. But if you're looking to get the album, you can find it on iTunes, Amazon, a bunch of places like that. But you could also go to YouTube or Google whatever videos on YouTube. We have some stuff up there. So,
with your permission, we'll pull a few things that way. Here's one right now.
Great.
Well, that was pretty cool. So, Evan, what's next for the band?
We're looking to go back into the studio soon. I'm trying to put together some new ideas from the gigs that we've done in the last year or two, and get in there again and jam out some more and see what we can put together for the next album. And then live gigs, we're still playing around the Southern California area, but hoping to expand that out to festivals and things like that. It's tough to go out there and tour with a huge band like this, but we're trying to figure that out.
Well, if anybody has access to hearing the Translucent Ham Sandwich Band with Evan Stone, I certainly recommend you put it on your list. It's quite an experience. And Evan, thank you so much for helping me out and being a part of this show.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Sure, continued success with the band, and I hope to see you soon.
All right. Take care.
Thanks. You've been enjoying Drummer Nation, show number 5, Translucent Ham Sandwich, with my guest, Evan Stone. Originally published July 3rd, 2016. This is your host, Michael Vosbein, and I want to thank our friends at Atlanta Pro Percussion, Danette Classic Drums, Sabian Cymbals, and Classic Drummer Magazine. We'll see you again in 2 weeks.